3 days after a village buried her only son, someone knocked on his mother's door. When she opened it, Kofi was standing there, alive. But one look at his hands told her something even more terrifying. He hadn't escaped his grave. He'd escaped somewhere else. It's just after midnight. Rain is crashing so hard against the roof that it swallows every other sound. Inside the house, Mama Efwa hasn't moved in hours. She isn't crying anymore. Some grief goes beyond tears. Exactly 72 hours ago, she stood beside a fresh grave and watched the villagers nail her son's coffin shut. She watched them lower 22-year-old Kofi into the earth. Since then, sleep has forgotten her name. Then, 3 heavy knocks hit the front door. Knock, knock, knock. Efwa's heart stops. Nobody visits a grieving mother at midnight. Not in weather like this. She forces herself to stand. Every step toward the door feels wrong. Her fingers shake so badly she almost drops the lock. She pulls the door open. The wind throws rain into her face. She doesn't even notice, because standing on her doorstep is Kofi, not a shadow, not a dream. Her son, breathing, shivering, covered from head to toe in thick, dripping mud. For one impossible second, her mind refuses to believe what her eyes already know. Kofi, the word barely escapes her lips. He doesn't answer. He doesn't blink. He just stands there. His eyes look straight through her, as if the part of him that knew who she was never made it back. Then something catches her attention. The mud. It's thick, sticky, deep red. Efwa frowns. That isn't the soil from the village graveyard. Everyone knows the cemetery sits on soft black earth. So where did this red clay come from? The question flashes through her mind. Then disappears. Because right now, she isn't thinking like a witness. She's thinking like a mother. She grabs his freezing arm and pulls him inside. The moment he steps across the doorway, his knees almost give out. She catches him before he hits the floor. Kofi, stay with me. Nothing. His body is here. His mind isn't. She reaches for his shoulder. The instant her fingers touch him, he jerks away so violently that he slams into the wall. Chunks of wet red clay fall onto the floor with heavy splats. A trail of muddy water begins spreading across the wood behind him. Efwa feels panic rising into her throat. He's freezing, shaking so hard his teeth won't stop chattering. Whatever happened to him, it's still happening inside his head. She wraps his arm over her shoulder. His weight nearly pulls her down, step by step. She drags him toward the bathroom. She just wants to warm him up, wash away the mud, make sense of the impossible. She turns on the hot water. Steam slowly fills the room. Kofi sits silently on the edge of the bathtub, staring at nothing, not speaking, not reacting, just trembling. Efwa wets a cloth very gently. She starts wiping the mud from his face. But something feels wrong immediately. This isn't ordinary dirt. It clings to his skin like wet cement. And the smell, it's not fresh earth. It's old, cold, like damp stone that's never seen sunlight. Her heartbeat quickens. Kofi, she whispers, please, tell me where you've been. Silence. She swallows hard, then reaches for his hands. Maybe cleaning them will help. Maybe touching him will bring him back. She turns one hand over. The cloth slips from her fingers. It lands on the floor. She couldn't believe her eyes. Every fingernail is gone, ripped completely away. His fingertips are torn open, packed with dried blood and splinters, tiny wooden splinters. Efwa's stomach drops. No, no. This isn't what happens when someone claws through loose soil. Loose dirt gives way. These wounds, These are the hands of someone who scratched for hours against solid wood, against something that never opened. A terrible thought crashes into her. Kofi didn't dig himself out of his grave. He fought his way out of somewhere else, which means only one thing. The person lying inside that coffin was never her son. Morning arrives, but nothing feels alive. The rain is gone, the sky is clear, and somehow that only makes everything worse. Efua stares at Kofi's ruined hands. Every instinct tells her the same thing. He needs a hospital. If she keeps hiding him, he could die. The nearest clinic sat beyond the village square. There was no back road through the forest, and Kofi was getting weaker with every minute she wasted. So she helps him to his feet, takes a deep breath, and walks him outside. The moment they step onto the road, people notice. One person stops, then another. Within seconds, the whole village is watching. Now think about this. 3 days ago, these same people buried Kofi. Today, he is standing in front of them, alive. This should be the greatest miracle they've ever seen. Instead, nobody smiles. Nobody runs to him. Nobody thanks God. They just stare, as if death itself has come back wearing a human face. Then the crowd slowly parts. The village elder steps forward. The same man who led Kofi's funeral. Efua rushes toward him. Please, help us. He needs a doctor. But the elder never looks at her. His eyes stay locked on Kofi, and something changes. For one brief second, pure terror flashes across his face. He knows. Efua sees it. He knows exactly why Kofi is alive. The old man's lips begin to tremble. Then suddenly, he points his cane straight at Kofi. Don't let him fool you. That is not her son. The coffin was sealed. That thing is a demon wearing the dead boy's face. The words hit the crowd like a spark landing in dry grass. People begin backing away. Someone grabs a stone. Another reaches for a stick. Then a voice shouts from the back, "Bring the kerosene." The fear spreads faster than reason. Efua throws herself in front of Kofi. He's alive. He's my son. Look at him. But nobody listens. They're no longer looking at Kofi. They're looking at their own fear. Then Efua looks back at the elder. He's sweating, breathing too fast, watching Kofi, not with hatred, with panic. And suddenly, everything makes sense. He's not afraid of a ghost. He's afraid of the truth. He's trying to make sure Kofi never gets the chance to speak. Before the crowd can move, Efua grabs Kofi's arm. Run! They burst through the edge of the crowd. Shouts explode behind them. Feet pound the road. Stones fly past. One crashes into a tree inches from Efua's head. Neither of them looks back. They run until the village disappears behind the trees. Branches whip across their faces. Roots catch their feet. Efua can barely breathe. Kofi, slow down. But something has changed. A few minutes ago, he could barely walk. Now, he's leading, not wandering, leading, as if every step has already been burned into his memory. He pushes through a curtain of vines, then suddenly stops. Efua almost crashes into him. She looks up. The ground has opened into a narrow ravine, hidden beneath the trees, almost impossible to find. At the bottom, a thick wooden door is built into the earth, an old underground cellar, locked from the outside. Kofi raises one trembling finger, points at the door. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to. Efua's pulse begins pounding in her ears. She climbs down. The closer she gets, the colder she feels. Then she sees it, the dirt around the doorway, dark, sticky, deep red, the same red clay that covered Kofi's body. Her chest tightens. This is where he came from, not the grave. Here. She pulls away the rusted iron bar. The heavy door groans open. Cold air rushes out. The smell hits her instantly. Rotten wood, wet stone, air that hasn't moved in days. She shines her phone light inside. The beam shakes in her hand. Then it lands on the inside of the door. Efua freezes. The wood is covered with thousands of scratch marks, long, deep, desperate, every inch soaked with dried blood. Kofi didn't make those marks trying to escape in minutes. He fought that door for days. Then the light catches something on the floor, a tiny glass vial. She kneels and picks it up. Most of the label has peeled away, but one word is still clear: paralytic. Her stomach drops. Everything falls into place. Kofi never died. Someone drugged him, slowed his heartbeat until everyone believed he was dead, then locked him inside the cellar, waiting for him to disappear forever. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. It was murder. But why Kofi? Why him? Then a memory tears through her. The night the community development fund disappeared, Kofi had come home shaken. He told her he'd seen the elder near the ravine with another man, dragging something heavy through the dark. She had dismissed it as fear. Now she knows better, and someone in that village planned every second of it. Efua closes her fist around the vial. The fear inside her burns away. Something stronger takes its place, because one question still refuses to leave her mind. If Kofi spent the last 3 days trapped inside this cellar, then whose body did they bury in her son's grave? Midnight, 96 hours since the village buried Kofi. Anyone else would have kept running, hidden until sunrise, prayed the danger would pass. Efua makes a different choice. She takes Kofi's hand and walks straight toward the graveyard. Not to hide, to finish this. By the time they arrive, the villagers are already there. Torches burn through the darkness. The crowd closes in from every side. Rocks, sticks, kerosene. The village elder steps forward, pointing at Kofi with a shaking cane. Burn it before it speaks. The mob begins to move, but Efua doesn't. She steps in front of Kofi, reaches into her wrapper, and holds up the tiny glass vial she found inside the cellar. Even in the torchlight, the label is still visible: paralytic. The crowd slows. Confused murmurs spread through the graveyard. Efua's voice cuts through all of it. "You said my son died." She raises the vial higher. "Then tell them why I found this in the cellar hidden beneath the ravine." The elder's face drains. Efua takes one step toward him. "Tell them why the mud on his body was red clay from that cellar, not black soil from this grave." Another step. "Tell them why the door was locked from the outside." Her voice breaks, but only for a second. Then it hardens again. "Tell them why my son's fingers were torn to the bone from scratching at wood while you left him there to die." The villagers begin looking at one another. No one lifts a stone now. No one reaches for kerosene. Efua turns and points at Kofi. "He is alive. He is breathing. And if you still say this isn't my son..." She swings toward the grave. "Then let's find out who you buried." For the first time that night, the elder completely loses control. "No, stop digging. It's forbidden. Leave the grave closed." He isn't speaking with authority anymore. He's begging, and everyone hears it. The villagers exchange uneasy looks. If opening the grave would prove him right, why is he so afraid? 2 young men step forward. They take the shovel from Efua and start digging. One scoop, then another. Nobody speaks. The only sound is metal cutting through wet earth. Every second feels heavier than the last. Then, clack. The shovel hits wood. The coffin is pulled from the ground. Mud slides off the lid. Someone wedges a crowbar beneath the nails. The first nail gives way. Then another. Then another. The lid creaks open. For one heartbeat, nobody moves. Then the screams begin. Not because the coffin is empty, because it isn't. Inside lies a man, cold, lifeless, the elder's closest friend. The same man everyone believed had stolen the community's development fund and disappeared weeks ago. He never ran away. He never left. He'd been here the whole time, hidden beneath Kofi's name. The truth crashes over the crowd all at once. Kofi wasn't buried to mourn him. He was buried because he saw too much. He had seen the elder and his friend fighting near the ravine on the night the community development fund vanished. He had seen the body, and for that, the elder dragged him, slowed his heartbeat until everyone thought he was dead, locked him inside that hidden cellar, then used the funeral to hide another man's body forever. It was supposed to be the perfect crime, until the boy he thought would die came home. The villagers slowly turned toward the elder. No one is shouting now. No one needs to. His own fear has already confessed everything. He takes one step back, then another, until there's nowhere left to go. The same grave he used to bury the truth now waits behind him. Then Kofi finally lifts his head. His lips crack as they part. His voice is barely more than a whisper, but in the silence, everyone hears it. "You buried me alive." The elder stumbles, as if the words themselves have hands, as if they've reached inside his chest and dragged the truth into the open. Ifua doesn't even look at him anymore. She doesn't care what happens to him now. She drops to her knees, pulls Kofi into her arms, and holds him as tightly as she can. For a long moment, he doesn't move. Then, his body finally gives in. He buries his face against his mother's shoulder and breaks, not with words, with one long, broken sob. The first sound he's made since the nightmare began. And in that moment, Ifua understands something no grave could ever bury. Evil doesn't always wear the face people fear. Sometimes, it wears the face people trust the most. And there is nothing more dangerous than a mother who refuses to let her child disappear